The second dimension of space is the awareness of point and line. The plant kingdom and lower animal kingdom resonates to this level. These beings are only conscious of their species identity and their need for feeding, fighting, and procreation. Live solely within the awareness of the moment. Human second dimensional consciousness is centered in the lower brain that directs the autonomic nervous system to regulate and maintain life support functions. The second kingdom is the vegetable or plant kingdom. Flowers and plants have higher or more active consciousness than minerals, although it still is in a dreamy state. They react, for example, to sunlight by bending towards it. They respond to water with growing and flowering, and to the absence of this stimulus by drying and dying. In the mineral kingdom, there is a process of condensation which goes blindly forth. This process is called conformation in the vegetable kingdom, which is more refined. Vegetables have the power to conform to the pattern set in the heavens and to produce below that which is found above. The secret is that of transformation. Plants are able to transform sunlight and the energies of the soil into form and color. Magnetization is the purpose. Plants magnetically attract with their beauty and loveliness the higher life forms, such as the animals to consume them for food, and human beings to draw from them inspiration, comfort, and satisfaction. The animal kingdom. Here, the level of consciousness is stepped up again to a higher level than in the preceding kingdom of the vegetables and plants. Now, consciousness starts to awake and becomes active as animals are starting to become able to act by themselves, independent from external stimuli. Normally, this is most clearly shown in the higher levels of the animal kingdom. For example, with species that can acquire their own food by eating vegetables or by hunting on other animals. In the animal kingdom is where one sees for the first time a true organization of the etheric body into intricate nerves, sensory force centers, and channels with a spinal column and a rudimentary brain. Concretization is the process and organization of a sensitive response apparatus or the densification of the subtle etheric body. Transfusion is the secret, which expresses a process of life-giving, of intelligent integration, and of psychological unfoldment in the animal, which precedes the process of individualization in the human kingdom. Experimentation is the purpose of the animal kingdom. Life is a great experiment of the planetary logos and activate a psychological condition of divine lucidity, meaning seeing life clearly as it is. This process starts in the animal kingdom and will be mastered in the human kingdom. There are 5 elements of the earth: spirit, air, fire, water, and earth. We will receive messages from each zodiac, each element, and the creatures of those elements. Starting with all zodiac signs according to air, and all of the creatures who are associated with the air element. These creatures are called the creatures of the sky. The upward pointed triangle with the line through it is the alchemic sign for air. The creatures of the air element move quickly and decisively, known to see more than others, leading to powerful or discerning qualities. Air creatures love movement and mobility, but the speed at which they moved often leaves them ungrounded. So do whatever you must to reconnect to the physical realm. Slow walks in nature will help you get your feet back on the ground. The owl represents abundance, clairvoyant, and treasures. They're mysterious and otherworldly creatures. The owl is the companion of the goddess Lakshmi and represents wealth, beauty, and good fortune. The owl is an omen that a boon or treasure is on the way, either in spiritual or material form. With owl wisdom on your side, you'll see and know exactly what to do with this treasure. The sugar maple, the leaf, giving wisdom, teaching us versatility. The sugar maple is much loved because its leaves turn spectacular reds, purples, oranges, and yellows each autumn. The sugar maple is also valued for the sap that is extracted from its trunk and turned into syrup. The message from the sugar maple comes through to say, although my leaves are green in spring, they have changed color dramatically by the time they drop in autumn. I can show you how to introduce similar versatility into your own life to make you stand out as a unique individual. Another message by way of the Montezuma cypress, teaching us about the roots of the tree, which is the being of the human body, teaching solidity. A swamp cypress, which also grows along the margins of lakes and rivers, yet some of the oldest members of its species are now growing in arid conditions, suggesting that their land was once much wetter. The example is the El Arbol del Tule, which grows in the grounds of the church Santa Maria del Tule in Mexico, standing on what is thought to have been an ancient Aztec site of worship. The Aztecs used these trees, resin, to treat gout and skin conditions. The message from the cypress, the Montezuma cypress, comes through to say, I grow at the meeting point between the land and the water, and I teach you that you need a balance between the material and spiritual worlds to survive. I am solid and strong, and I can give you that same sense of solidity. The next element is by way of the earth, all of the earth signs. They are called the creatures of the field and forest. The upside down triangle with a line through it is the alchemic sign for earth. The earth creature symbolizes survival and instinct. Earth creatures represent our relationship with fears and habits. In general, the earth creatures are grounded, dependable, and supportive. Unfortunately, earth creatures become stuck in their ways due to them being so drawn to routine. The rabbit, for example, is normally known to be afraid of everything, overwhelmed, frozen. The rabbit loves to remind his friends that someday the eagle will swoop down and eat him. The rabbit talks and talks and talks about it so loudly at that the rabbit allows itself to be overheard by the eagle, and gives thanks to the rabbit for the great idea. So basically it just, reminded the eagle, they need of the tragedy, something they needed to do, something they probably forgot about. The rabbit energy is alive when one is scared, mostly about the future, and one becomes their own worst enemy. The solution to the rabbit energy of being afraid of everything, being overwhelmed and always feeling frozen, is being sent to us by way of the linden trunk. The linden is the trunk of the tree, and the trunk represents where the healing comes from. The linden is teaching us that the solution to being afraid of everything, overwhelmed, and being frozen is peace. The linden card represents peace. Lindens are also known as lime trees. All parts of the tree are valuable, from the inner bark, once used to make rope, to the fragrant flowers, which are important for the bumblebees. In ancient times, a linden marked the site of the local court of law. In Norse and Germanic legend, the linden was the sacred tree of Frigga, the mother goddess of Freya, the mistress of the earth. A tea made from the flowers calms the nerves and soothes digestive problems. The message that linden brings is look at my heart-shaped leaves if you want to understand my affectionate messages that I'm sending to you. Try to send out a sense of love and peace whenever you are in the world, regardless of your outer circumstances. If you combine, I'm just assuming, I feel if you combine the air and earth energies, those two energies and elements and ways of living, moving, thinking, and shaking, teach you about undying love. This message is brought to you by the Guidance Goddess Oracle. And this goddess is Isolde, a Celtic goddess. The message reads, the love you have shared is eternal, regardless of the situation. She's teaching you that what you can learn from the second dimension of state of thinking and consciousness is that love is everywhere. It's eternal. It's unconditional. There is nothing that you can say or do that could make the divine want to disconnect from you. And the divine wants you to have that undying love for yourself before you try to give it to someone else or try to understand it coming from someone else. The goddess Isolde says, this can take some time, so be patient with yourself. Treat yourself as you would any ailing person, with caution, gentleness, and tenderness, and get yourself in nature. The next element is the fire element. All of the zodiac signs that are associated with fire. You are known as creatures of the desert and grasslands. The creatures of the fire element leads one towards change. Fire element creatures represent the ego and challenge us to become one's best version of themselves. It's a time of action and change. Deadlines and demands are around every turn, but it's all in the name of growth. Cobra chose to come through to help explain the second dimension a little better. The upward pointing triangle without a line through it is the alchemic sign for fire. The cobra is about pausing, waiting, the inner teacher. The cobra represents a teacher or spiritual guardian. The cobra hovers and watches, ever present, ever protecting, ever loving. Its essence is found deep within one in the form of the inner teacher and manifests externally in those special guides who've led you along your path. Remember the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. The eastern cottonwood, the leaf, bringing us wisdom by way of teaching us about connection. The eastern cottonwood has powerful associations with several Native American tribes. It's sacred to the Sioux tribe, who believe that it's almost perpetually rustling leaves are in constant prayer to the Great Spirit. Cottonwood leaves are used to treat inflammation and to relieve pain, and the steam from a decoction of the bark, stems, and leaves can cure snake bites. The message that the eastern cottonwood leaf brings is not only about connection, but about wisdom. The message reads, I have great wisdom. The rustling of my leaves means that I am in continual communication with the Supreme Being. Let me show you how to become as one with the world around you so that everyone can benefit from your blessing. The coast redwood is a part of the flower, fruit, and seed part of the tree, teaching power, giving power, showing power, and teaching about majesty. The giant redwood is one of the most splendid trees in the arboreal kingdom and is particularly noted for its immense girth and longevity, with some giant redwoods thought to be at least 2,000 years old. The trees were an important source of medicine, and today the United Nation of Louisiana uses infusions of the inner bark to treat jaundice. The message from the coast redwood comes to you, saying, I am renowned for my stateliness, and my awe-inspiring size. I am majestic, and I can teach you how to attain your potential too, so that you are able to create your own power in the world and express your true self. The Celtic goddess Guinevere comes through. Sorry about that. I am not at home. Okay, so here we go. 1 second, you guys. Once again, sorry, y'all. Okay, listen, if y'all new to my channel, okay, we trying to learn, but I'm a mommy too. You know, I'm trying to multitask, trying to get me, but okay. Come through, goddess Guinevere. From the fire elements, okay. I believe that goddess Guinevere, which is a Celtic goddess, her message reads, the romantic stirrings in your heart have propelled the universe to deliver great love to you. Okay, take it as it resonates. Her message also is, romance is not an outmoded concept. Far from it. Romance is the time-honored precept of merging with the divine as it manifests within another human being. Romance is also playfulness, which heralds springtime, flowers, and new life. Romance is the life face of the universe and is a worthwhile goal indeed. Now on to the element of water. All of my water zodiac signs. You are known as the creatures of the oceans, rivers, and lakes. The creatures of the water element represent our emotional world and our ability to express. Water element creatures symbolize relationships, love, boundaries, and creativity. Our flow, so to speak. Water creatures are often drawn to the arts as they have a natural inclination toward beauty and depth. However, when water spills and makes a mess, disappointment and sometimes tears are sure to follow. Ideally, a healthy stream of communication flows through our lives. Not too much water, not too little water. The octopus energy. The octopus teaches us about reaching, yearning, lacking boundaries and direction. The octopus signifies a wonderfully perceptive mind paired with a lack of healthy boundaries, which unfortunately this results in well-intended but messy relationships. The octopus entwines itself into other people's business and shares their own without restraint, believing that is an example of what it means to be close. The octopus energy begins to establish healthy boundaries. You learn to be more patient and firm. Now, it may be a very old habit to change, but it's a habit that must be changed. Now, in order to assist and find a solution for the reaching, yearning, and lack of boundaries and direction, the willow comes through. The willow is the roots, the being of the person. In order to be able to find a solution for the reaching, yearning, and lack of boundaries, that means that you need harmony. All willows are renowned for their ability to root easily. They are associated with the moon and the feminine. Several Greek goddesses are connected with the willow, including Artemis and Hera. In Celtic Europe, harps were made from willow wood. For centuries, infusions of willow bark were used to treat fevers, and the salicylic acid this contains was eventually synthesized in aspirin. And I totally be butchering these names, but y'all know what I'm talking about, okay? The message from the willow roots are, my roots spread far in their quest for moisture. My ancient connection with the moon will help you to enjoy harmony in your own life and to create peaceful, loving relationships with the people around you. Last but not least, we have the element of spirit. These creatures are called the creatures of the ether. The creatures of the spirit element do not live on earth as we know it. They are inhabitants of a dimension beyond the cosmic ether. Like guardians from another realm, they are watchful and protective when one is at a crossroads in their life. Trust is key with the spirit. Creatures, let me say that again. Trust is key with the spirit creatures as life shifts in big ways. Questions might seem unanswerable, the future unknown, but you're in perfect place. Even if you have the perception that you're in control, you're not. Grace surrounds the situation and steers the wheel. The black egg represents speaking from an authentic voice, the truth. The black egg contains one of life's essential treasures, the truth. Inside of it resides no confusion, excuses, small talk, noise, or lies. A living, breathing vessel harboring only that which rings true. The black eggs, when this essence is in balance, we speak slowly and clearly, drawn to activities like writing, reading, teaching, singing, or perhaps public speaking. When the energy of the black egg is not yet assessed, we speak from an unsure place. We might even try to convince ourselves that we have no inner truth at all. The energy of the black egg hovers and waits for us to reconnect. It is available at every moment in every situation. It's the epicenter of truth, the birthplace of our voice. The black egg is connected with the fifth chakra. The subtle essence of this card resides at the base of the throat, at the Vishuddha chakra. The ancient sages saw this center as the hub that governs our speech and expression. Vishuddha translates as especially pure. The balance of this center is important for all of us, but is especially essential for writers, editors, musicians, and teachers. So with all of that black egg energy of us expressing our inner truth, we need to know how to anchor it. And we're learning that by the banyan tree. The root, the being, it represents anchoring. The banyan is easily recognized because of its remarkable habit of sending aerial roots down into the soil, where they become additional trunks that support the ever-expanding canopy. Eventually, the complex network of extra trunks enables a single tree to spread across several acres. This can provide invaluable shade and shelter for scores of people at a time. The banyan is sacred in India and the Vedas and Upanishads. I'm so butchering that. Associated with Brahma, the immortal god of creation. Both the bark and leaf buds are used in Ayurveda to staunch bleeding. Ultimately, the message from the banyan tree is I can teach you how to anchor yourself within the world to increase your sense of being grounded. I have given shelter to people for thousands of years so that man, plants, and other living creatures can all survive together. Lastly, we have the beautiful goddess Yamanja, the African and Brazilian goddess, with the message of important doors are opening for you right now, so walk through them. This is your golden opportunity. Like the ocean, life moves in waves and tides. Timing is everything. So when an opportunity presents itself, you must dive in it at that moment. Everything that you've done to prepare yourself will accompany you. Yet, if you hesitate or procrastinate, another opportunity will surely come along just as the tides wash in and out continuously. Like the ocean, life is rich with variety and beauty. Enjoy experiencing its various rhythms and allow all doubts to be washed away. Ultimately, my loves, I believe that the second dimension, the plants, the animals, what we can learn from those two kingdoms as humans is that we can learn about how to set boundaries, how to listen to our intuition, how to trust our senses, how to just trust what we know and feel is right, even though, we may can't see it. Learning to have faith. It's learning to realize that, with us realizing that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, that, everybody and everything cannot come into our bubble, cannot, become attached to us. We must create boundaries because we're learning, we're growing, we're healing, we're doing so many things at one point in time. So the second dimension teaches us to hone into the boundaries and creating boundaries that protects us, not blocks us, but protects us from all negative people, places, and things that don't serve our highest good, and using the discernment, which is our higher self, the God in us, our magic, our connection to the cosmos and different realms. Use that discernment. Trust that discernment. And last but not least, my loves, from the second dimension, we have a Rumi oracle, which is an invitation into the heart of the divine. This message, take it as it resonates. But from the second dimension, we have the message of the Divine Mother manifests. She's manifesting balance into your life. The second dimension teaches you how to have balance between boundaries and discernment. Okay? The message reads, "O you living in the world of 6 directions, accept the gloom and accept the bliss, for those seeds buried in the ground will one day grow into fruitful orchids." We share her, this Divine Mother. You and I, we are her precious children. We are born through her love, and she shares in our losses and our gains, and our tragedies and our triumphs. Her hair forms the galaxies. Her thoughts become the stars. The sun is her own warmth, and her breath is felt upon this earth, causing the roar of the ocean waves. Her voice is heard in the call of the whales and the trill of the birds. She is all, nurturing life into existence. She is in my reaching for you, and she is in your acceptance of my divine hand. She is all, this great lady. Nothing lies outside of her sphere of influence and power, compassion and grace. That includes you and your dreams, great and small, my angel of love. Namaste, love and light, and until next time.